Getting fairway woods in the air is something that a lot of golfers struggle with. And it's something that I saw with lessons all the time. The tops, the fats, the inconsistency. But if you can get it right, if you can become friends with your fairway woods, they are a fantastic weapon to have. Firstly, fairway woods are very versatile. You can use them off the tee to try and be a little bit more accurate and hit fairways. The advantage of using a fairway wood off the tee is that you get to elevate the ball off the ground, and you can also approach this shot a little bit more like you would a driver. And something else that I'd like you to approach is the subscribe button for this channel if you haven't already. We are catapulting towards 100,000 followers, and it would be great to have you as part of this community. And also, I didn't think I'd use the word catapult today, so that's an added bonus. Because when the ball is on a tee peg, you can have a little bit more of a neutral angle of attack or a little bit more of an upward angle of attack, and that gives you different options as far as ball flight. So angle of attack is how the club moves into impact on an arc. If the club is moving upwards, that is known as an upward angle of attack, and if it is moving downward, that is a downward angle of attack. So it all depends where the low point of the arc is as the club moves through impact. So on that swing, I had 113 miles an hour of club head speed, but the spin on the shot was 2,500 revs. Now, that is because I was able to get my angle of attack quite neutral, well, it was actually slightly up, and control spin loft. So that shot went a really good distance for a 3-wood. Many of you watching this will use a fairway wood off the tee and be relatively successful with it. That is because you can raise the ball off the ground. When the ball is on the surface, so on a fairway, for example, things become a little bit more tricky, because the angle of attack will have to alter for most golfers. It's going to be quite hard to hit this shot on the up because there is no room under the ball. It is in contact with the ground. So to show you this point, I'm going to hit 2 shots. The first one is I'm going to tee up. My setup will be slightly different for these 2 shots as well, which we'll get into, but I want to show you the difference between the potential launch angles and spin and distance. So ball position just inside my left heel, with the 3-wood here. Picked pretty cleanly off the surface. A little bit of a push, but you can see the launch on that ball. So we have a ball speed of 162, a carry of 259, launch angle of 10.5 degrees. All pretty healthy for a tee shot. Angle of attack there was a degree up. Next, I'm going to pop the ball off the ground. So, very different ball flight on that shot. Club speed exactly the same, 115. Angle of attack, 4.3 down compared to 1 degree up before. Launch angle at 3.6 degrees. Now, the reason I'm telling you all of this is how the club operates through impact on angle of attack and club direction will make a huge difference on how the ball is sent towards your target. And when the ball is off the ground, that is a fundamentally different approach than you can take to when the ball is off the tee. So how can we control that angle of attack? How can we control low point? So much of this, and something that you can literally do within 5 seconds, is alter setup. Now, if you think about the golf swing working in a circle around the body, and the low point of that circle as the club reaches the ball is the bottom of your swing arc. So you've got this circle going around the body, and as it reaches the bottom of the circle, that is the bottom of arc. You can think of the center of the circle as pretty much where your sternum is. It's just to the left, but it's here. Now, if I set my sternum position up behind the ball and I don't massively shift towards the target or massively back away from the target and keep this location quite central, then that should mean that my angle of attack, my low point of my swing arc, should bottom out before the ball. So when my ball is on the tee, I know that I can hit a little bit more upwards through the point of impact. Therefore, I can afford to keep my swing center a little bit more behind the ball. To do that, again, very quickly, within a few seconds, if you start with your feet together, pointing towards the ball, let your lead foot just open up and just drift an inch to the left-hand side. take a big step with the trail foot, then all of a sudden, my swing center is behind the ball. And all I'm trying to do here, nice distance from the ball, leave that little bit of room, get the good posture, and just try and keep sternum behind impact and hit up on the ball. Wow, that is an absolute rocket. You can see the difference in launch between those last two shots. Carry almost 270 yards, 269. And we now know the angle of attack is alterable by where swing center is. We don't want to be trying to hit up loads through impact when the ball is off the ground with the fairway wood. So how can we adapt this? I'm going to start again with my feet pointing at the ball. I am going to take a tiny step with my left foot. So what that means is that my left foot is moving further towards the target than I did when my setup was off the tee. I'm going to take a quite similar step with my right foot, my trail foot. Now this puts my swing center pretty much just behind the ball. And this allows me to move onto impact with a little bit of shift of weight towards the target and try and feel like my chest is a little bit more over the ball at the point of impact. Oh, baby. Admittedly, I was trying to push that a little bit too much. Came out like an absolute bullet. Ball speed 160 and launch angle at 7 degrees. A little bit more of an extreme example there, but you don't need to hit up on a fairway wood shot to get a successful shot. Something that you do need to be aware of here is this 3 wood is 14 degrees. Now, loft on a fairway wood is important. I use a 14 degree, and this is a very old 3 wood that I use as well, because I want the option to be able to squeeze it low, I want to be able to hit it high with a draw, and I want it to go a certain distance. If you struggle to get your fairway woods in the air, it might be confidence, it might be technique, it also might be down to loft. Now this is a 5 wood. It's at 18 degrees, which is 4 more degrees in loft than the club that I have been using. It will still go a decent distance, and something you see within the modern game is a lot of tour professionals actually shifting from a classic 3 wood into a 5 wood because of the launch and because of ease of use. Now, if you're still struggling to get your head around what this swing should look like, and you do need to move on a little bit from just stance and setup, when you're approaching impact, you can think about a fairway wood as a long iron. Now, with irons, you want to be striking slightly down on the golf ball. And if you're using something like a 5 wood, that becomes a lot more palatable because you can see the loft. Also, as you strike down, if you bruise the ground just after impact with a 5 wood or even a 3 wood, that's fine. A slightly descending blow will still allow you to get the ball up in the air because there will still be spin, there will still be loft. Obviously, if you get a long way over and you're striking massively down, you will have a problem. Many times during lessons, a problem that people brought up was just fear, because it's very easy when the ball is on the ground to lean back and to try and help the ball up in the air. There are a few key checkpoints that you can use. First of all, don't be short on the backswing. If you're trying to get the ball up in the air, sometimes it's tempting not to complete a full turn. If you turn behind the ball, that's fine, because your swing center will be here, and then you can move it back on top of impact. That is fine. A second checkpoint that you can have, and a really nice one if you have access to a slow-mo camera, which you really should have on your phone nowadays, most of them do have a function, is as you're coming through impact from face on, if you can get the shaft, the left arm, the lead arm, and the lead leg in a straight line at the point of impact, that's usually a good sign that you've not tried to flick, that you're not massively leaning the hands ahead, or that your chest hasn't shifted position too much. So that is a nice little checkpoint. And then lastly, if you want something that you can actually take to the golf course, if you hit a shot and just try and achieve this position. So you can see here, I'm up onto my back toe. My weight is centered over my front leg, my chest, my eyes, all facing down towards the target. This position here means that I've not tried to lean back too much through impact, and I've committed to the shot. If you want to learn more about your game and you want to commit to a few more Swing Quest videos, check these out here.